Get ready with me to go to the official UK Wicked premiere while I tell you a creepy date story. So I matched with this guy on this app called Raya, and he seemed normal enough, right? We meet up, and within the first 5 minutes, he leans in and goes, "You know, you have the most hypnotizing eyes I've ever seen. Like, I could stare at them for hours." Thought that was kind of cute. Except he did. Not kidding, guys, he barely blew out of it. Nope. He just stared and smiled and then said he could write a poem about my eyelashes. The creepiness peaked when he casually asked if he could keep a strand of my hair as a memory of our first date. It's giving serial killer vibes. I laughed thinking it was a bad joke until he pulled out a Ziploc bag. Like he had this planned. Guys, I was terrified.
I went to my best friend's house after school one day. She invited her boyfriend over without her parents knowing, and her parents didn't even know she had a boyfriend. They didn't allow her to have a boyfriend. I was in the front room working on a science project and watching out to see if her parents spontaneously came home. My best friend and her boyfriend were upstairs. All of a sudden, I see her dad pull into the top of literally in the driveway, and we were all freaking out, and my best friend screamed, "Where are his shoes?" I didn't remember where I put them because I had hid them earlier to try to be funny, and he ran out the back door and he had to walk home. Her dad didn't see him, but her boyfriend did leave a pot of coffee on. My best friend and I at the time
My very first job was working at an ice cream shop when I was 15. I wanted to quit dance, and my parents said either I danced on a team or I got a job. Honestly, I've never been the biggest school girly. I liked school for the social aspect, though I remember it was a Friday in March. There was gonna be a party that night and I had to go. And my parents' rule was if I didn't have a C or higher, I could not go out for the weekend other than work. So me and my best friend at the time head into work our 3 hours. My mom texts, "I'm on the way to get you." I tell her, "No, I'm not going home with you, I'm going out." Well, my mom pulls up in front of the ice cream shop. I walk out and I say, "I'm not going home with you." She goes, "Yes, you are. You don't have the grades to go out." I pull the mom, "It's not fair. I'm not going with you." What do? I get in the car and I lock her out of the car, hanging on the window to tell me to let her in. I knew it was over for me. Her friend is a firefighter and the whole fire truck are there and about to get involved. So I knew I had to let her in. Just say a lot went down once I let her in and I was grounded. But I was going to that.
Do you style your hair the same way every day? Well, there's an urban legend about a woman who always wore her hair in a bun, but for her, this habit would lead to something terrifying. This woman loved wearing her hair in a bun, but she might have taken it a bit too far. She didn't want to style her hair differently or even take out her bun to clean her hair. Whenever she took a shower, she would just wear a shower cap to make sure the water didn't mess up her bun. And even when the itching got intense, she just applied more hairspray. But her husband finally found out about how bad the situation had gotten when he woke up one day and his wife was still asleep. He tried to wake her up, but she wouldn't move. She had died in the middle of the night. The husband called the police, fearing that something unusual might have happened. But when her body was examined, they finally took out her bun. Inside her hair, they found something terrifying.
Am I in the wrong for dropping my friends for revealing my husband's infidelity? I, 44 female, have known for years that my husband, 49 male, cheats on me. I grew up with a single mother who worked night shift at a motel. I made it my goal to give my kids a better life. Aged 18, I married my high school sweetheart. We both got jobs, him at a manufacturing company and me at a department store. Things went well until year 7 of our marriage when the company that my ex worked for closed. He fell into a deep depression and ended up having a one-night stand with a girl in another city where he was interviewing for a job. He confessed when he came home and he said that he was depressed because the job interview was bad and he was upset from the fighting and us not sleeping in the same bed. I was furious and immediately kicked him out. Here's where my friend Marie comes in. Marie was a maid of honor at the wedding. When I told her why I had kicked my ex out, she was sympathetic. However, after I told Marie that my husband wanted to talk about how he's been working on himself ever since he cheated, Marie seemed sympathetic to the cheater and said maybe I should hear him out as a courtesy. However, I declined and divorced him. A year later, I started dating my now husband. His business started raking in a lot of profits as soon as we met. After we married, I kept my friendship to Marie even though she wasn't part of the Santa Barbara scene. My husband retired my mom after we got married. He also funded my boutique business. However, he's someone who gets bored.
Story time about how my boyfriend and best friend were sneaking around behind my back. So a little background information, I was 15 and in 10th grade. So my mom and dad were split up and I was pretty much allowed to do whatever I wanted because of that. So I was dating this boy named Jacob. Well, my best friend Alice literally hated him. Like low-key, every once in a while, she would try to break him and I up. And which was extremely weird because no matter what, Allison would always text me back. So after I knew the school ended, I went to Allison's house. Nobody was answering the door, so I used the spare key. I walk in and all I hear is a very loud banging coming from her bedroom. So I walk in, I see my boyfriend and her together. And then he starts saying that she drugged him. So I went on his phone, I see a bunch.
Thanks a lot, you idiot. Thanks a lot, Rachel. Thanks a lot.
Story time! We're going to be talking about why I moved to my schools and literally left everything I knew. All started in 8th grade when I first posted a TikTok about my clothes and it randomly went viral. Then it just took off from there. I kept making videos even though I low-key got made fun of. But I still had all my friends. I wasn't like bullied, so I survived. Everything was going great until TikTok turned off my comments to friends only because I'm not 16 yet. Which back soon. So then I decided I need another platform than just TikTok. I started YouTube and randomly it blew up and I got 100K in literally 3 months. YouTube pays off way more, but it takes a lot more time. So then I realized I had to choose between school and my actual dreams. I switched to a school where it was way more flexible and I could finish early. Now I've already been to LA for a YouTube event and I'm going again soon, and that's the moral of the story.
This is why you should always keep a diary. Once there was a young woman in Korea who was blind in one eye. She decided that once she saved up enough, she would get a cornea transplant. Eventually she did, so she scheduled the surgery. She was very excited for it, however, afterwards things took a terrifying turn. She stopped texting and talking to her friends and even her family with no explanation. People thought she just broke down the door. Inside the house, they found the young woman lying in a pool of her own blood. Her parents were devastated. No one could understand why she did this to herself. Perhaps it was just a social isolation. However, this theory was quickly changed when the police kept investigating. All the mirrors had been smashed in the house as well as all other reflective surfaces. But it wasn't until they found the young woman's diary that they really found out.
Things that happen to me, I swear I can't make up. So if you spray tan or know anybody that spray tans, you know that usually you're just like completely nude. Go get spray tanned once a week, but I had to stop going to this one place. So the story starts back when I was 13 years old and I had just gotten asked to homecoming by, let's call him Billy. I didn't know Billy very well, but I was like, yeah, I want to go to homecoming, let's go. And at the time, I kind of had a crush on Bobby, who was Billy's friend from football. No one really told me the rules of going to a dance with someone. I end up hanging out with Bobby all night. There was a lot of drama because I ended up kissing Bobby, and my mom took me home from the dance. I felt really bad, and looking back on it now, I feel like a total jerk. But this is where karma just comes up and gets ya. So now back to the spray tan. I am completely in my birthday suit right now. This lady is telling me about her relationship, a little too oversharing about schools. We're both from the South Bay, and I'm like, oh, what high school did he go to? It's Bobby. I know everything.
My first love was my pen pal, until one day the letters stopped coming. It was a normal day in the 4th grade, and then my teacher announces, class, we are getting pen pals from Japan. I was given a boy named Alex. He wrote to me in English, I wrote to him in Japanese. For 2 years, Alex told me all about his life in Tokyo. The drama at school, the food he ate, we even sent pictures to each other. I was pretty shy and didn't have a lot of friends, so those letters became the highlight of my day. And I started falling for him a little bit, until one day the letters stopped coming. Days, months, years ago.
So my family keeps trying to get me to date my cousin. Trust me, I know that it's crazy. It all started when I moved to New York, and then he decided to move to New York. Let's call him Joe. They kept saying we should meet, which is fine, but like they were just being so sus about it. And then I started getting weird comments from my aunt like, oh, well, you're single, he's single. I'm like, wait, what? Like, am I tripping? Just put it out there, we're not related by blood, but it's still weird. It's like second cousin or something. Then my aunt sees my videos about my sneaky link, meet up with my cousin, but she wouldn't want my sneaky link to get jealous. So she's like, oh, trust me, it won't be romantic. Ooh, not the eyebrow dandruff. In order to prove that it's not romantic, she starts telling me how much family we are. Like, lady, that's what I've been saying this whole time. But then she hits me with, he wouldn't be interested in you anyway. Like, excuse me, ma'am? What did you just say? So you're telling me I had to go through this trauma of my family trying to get me to date my cousin, only to find out
Everyone's worst fear happened to me. Story time! As a kid, I was a little show-off. I was always doing flips. Literally nothing scared me. So one day, I was at my friend's pool and we were doing little flips in the water because I wasn't that good. I was doing front flips off the ledge of it, but I was kind of scared to do back flips. I'd never done that before. But my friend that was a year younger than me was able to do it, and I felt like, dang, like she's young up on the ledge because it was like a lot above ground. It wasn't like straight to the pool. I took a deep breath and then I jumped. I actually did it and I didn't fail, but no one saw, and I wanted to show my parents really bad, so I went up, I told everyone, I was like, guys, I'm gonna do this back flip. I ended up knocking my face on the cement and I almost had to get stitches. It got like glued together. So if you look close enough, I have a little scar on my nose, and that is where it's from.
Hey guys, get ready to talk about things I hate about school so far. Okay, I hate whenever people step on the back of your shoes and they don't say anything and like just stare at you whenever you turn around. This is really targeted. I don't even know this girl's name, but I was literally walking in the hallway and she stepped on my shoes and like I turned around because I thought it was my friend. Cause like it felt like somebody did it on purpose, right? And then she just gives me a dirty look after she stepped on my shoes. I'm sorry, but the least you could do is apologize. Okay, next I hate when people go in my lunchbox and steal my food without asking. It's honestly so irritating because I'll save food for a bus snack and somebody will go in my lunchbox and steal the food. Like literally pack your own food or eat the school food. I'm not your mother, I'm not providing you with food. Next, I hate teachers taking phones. I get my phone taken in all of my classes except 2, and it's really annoying. Like, how are you gonna take something that you don't even pay for? Make that make sense, because it doesn't. Next, I hate my chem teacher so.
Get ready with me while I tell you about the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. So I was a sophomore in high school and I had just moved to a new school. I didn't have many friends and I think it was because people were jealous about how I looked. I hated high school. I took a psychology class because smarty girl. There were all upperclassmen popular kids in my class. I was literally email in front of the whole classroom. I was really scared to mess up on my typing and for people to think that I was a slow typer. So I typed my email and password as fast as I could. I accidentally typed my password in the email section. My password was I love Cody123. Everyone just started awkwardly looking around and no one laughed. I was humiliated.
This is why you should not listen to your teacher. Once something terrifying happened to Sophia when she got to school. She went to class as usual when her teacher burst into the room and said, "Sophia, I have some bad news." She was shocked and embarrassed to be called out like that in front of her whole class. Her teacher then said, "Get your things. I just got off the phone with your father. He said your mom was in a horrible accident and he's gonna pick you up." Instantly froze in horror. She tried to explain, but her teacher kept interrupting her. "Why are you just standing around? Get your things now." But Sophia wouldn't move. She knew something wasn't right. She said, "I don't have a father. He passed away long ago and I never got to meet him. I was raised by a single mother all my life." To this day, Sophia still doesn't know who that man was claiming to be her father and what he planned to do. What would you do if someone said this to you? Once there was a girl in Korea who got in an elevator in the apartment building that she was living in when a stranger came in and told her something that was absolutely terrifying. This stranger came into the elevator with her and tried to make some small talk. He looked at the elevator buttons and said, "Oh, I see that you live on the 14th floor. I live on the 13th floor." A horrifying turn. When the elevator arrived at the 13th floor, the man got off and said, "See you soon." But as the doors closed, he pulled out a knife from his jacket and with a terrifying smile said, "Upstairs." Then he ran towards the stairs. By this time, it was too late. The elevator doors were already closed. She tried to push as many buttons as possible, but it was of no use. If you ever hear someone whistling, don't do what she did. Once a girl moved to Peru with her dad, who started a new job as an English teacher. But one night, something strange happened. She looked out the window and saw a long, dark shadow moving through the trees. Then, as the shadow approached her bedroom window, she heard a whistling sound. Not thinking much of it, she began whistling back to it. Her father came to check on her and found her daughter still facing the windows, whistling to something unknown. He asked, "What are you doing?" And she replied, "Whistling at the dark figure in the trees." And as soon as the father looked outside, he took his daughter and locked her in the closet. Then he broke the key in the lock and locked the windows. And from the inside of the closet, the girl could hear her father saying prayers, but all of a sudden it stopped. Then she heard a scream. The bedroom windows shattered and she heard her father's screams fade into the distance. The next morning, the girl was found by villagers investigating the damage to the house. Her father was never found, and eventually she was adopted by her aunt and uncle. Years later, she still sleeps inside a locked closet, in fear that the dark creature that once whistled to her would someday return for her.
Go baby, go baby, go baby. Hope that God forgives your sins, your sins, your sins, your sins. Go baby, go baby.
Why are men like this? It is disgusting. It is creepy. This is like one of my main fears as to why I do not fly alone on the airplane. This happened to me about a year ago, but I've just been thinking about it since my flight is tomorrow. I was visiting my mom and I had a middle seat on the airplane. This man did not talk for at least half of the duration of the flight. I fell asleep like face front onto my desk, as one does, for me to sleep on. I was baffled. He said it so confidently, like, "Yeah, just take a nap on me. Just take a nap on me." I was like, no. It did not stop there. This man continued to keep waking me up every 15 minutes or so to offer me his to not only offer me his shoulder, but he kept trying to give me candy.
I will not be friends with you if you do not wax your eyebrows up. Now that I'm literally looking snatched, I'm using Chanel mascara. This was $200. Using Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. Rare Beauty blush. I almost forgot, I'm such an idiot. That is literally it. I will link everything in my life.
She could have never guessed what really happened in her basement. Once there was a girl named Brooklyn who moved into an old house with her parents, but there was one door leading to their basement and no one could open it. This made Brooklyn curious, so one day she looked through the keyhole, but she could have never expected what happened next. She saw something moving in the darkness, then quickly coming towards her. As soon as she jumped back, a screwdriver poked through the keyhole. Brooklyn was terrified. She could have imagined. Her family had moved out of the house already, but Brooklyn returned to the area to visit an old friend. She walked by the house and said, "I used to live there." And her friend said, "Yeah, the screwdriver house." Brooklyn instantly had chills. She never told anyone about what happened. She asked, "Why did you just say that?" And that's when her friend told her the story. Shortly after the house was built, a husband, his wife, and their 4 daughters moved in. The wife passed away.